Hello everyone, Kaoz here, and welcome to another old school RuneScape video. In the previous one, I gave you guys a brief history of the most expensive items in old school RuneScape since its release in 2013. And today I want to discuss two things. Number one, the upcoming drops from Raids 3 and Next, both of which are coming out very soon. And also how all of these items show a very interesting pattern in the direction of old school RuneScape in terms of power creep. It is my honest opinion that because of what we will talk about today, the game might be heading down a very awkward path. If you enjoyed this video, we have a lot of content like this on the channel, which is basically brainstorming and game analysis, so a subscription with notifications on would be greatly appreciated, as well as a like on the video to please the YouTube algorithm and so I can feed my cute puppies. Last but not least, you can check out the links in the description below to join our wonderful Discord server and community. Not a lot of disclaimers for this one, but just remember that this is my personal opinion, and anything you hear today can be discussed in the comment below. And the second one is that all the items we talk about today are subject to change, since they are still being tested by players in beta worlds. Now, I know there's very little chance of Jagex actually changing anything, but we'll just have to wait and see. And one more thing, last but not least, this video will be mostly unscripted, and it's more like a rambly video. So fire up old school RuneScape, start your grind, and let's talk about some of the upcoming additions to the game, and what they could mean for the future of old school RuneScape. I am going to start with Next items, and up first we have the Virtus Robes. Comparing it to the current best in slot for Magic, which is the Ancestral Robe set, as you can see we have three very important things to note. Number one, the magic attack bonus is the same plus 69. The Virtus Robe set has slightly better defensive stats because it obviously requires a slightly higher defense, and as you can see the Ancestral Robe set is going to have that plus 6% magic damage bonus, or whatever you want to call it. Now, the gimmick of this set, as you can see right here, is that whenever you are using all three pieces of the Virtus Robe set, not only is it going to have a plus 9% increased magic damage, but this is only for ancient spells. Also, every one of the spells is going to have an extra little bonus or gimmick that is going to give you for both or for all smoke, shadow, blood, and ice spells. Now, you guys know I don't do a lot of PVMing, and especially in the past few months I haven't been playing a ton of old school RuneScape because of work and my videos, so I don't exactly know where ancient spells are used, especially in PVMing. I know maybe people can freeze Bandos or the Zami boss, but honestly this looks like it's going to be extremely useful in PvP. Since if you are tribriding or hybriding, then obviously you want those extra bonuses on the ancient spellbook. But you guys can let me know in the comments how this one is going to be used outside of PvP, as in my personal opinion, it doesn't look like it's going to be extremely hyped, and as you can see, it's another example of how Jagex wants to keep things kind of in check, but then give them, you know, that nice little bonus for you to think that you can use the Virtus Robe set over the current best in slot, which is Ancestral. One of the only two items that are going to be a direct upgrade to the current best in slot counterpart, we have the new Vambraces, which are also going to be dropped from Next. Now, not only is it going to give a nice little bonus effect to the charged Zaryte Bow, which we're going to talk about in just a few seconds, but as you can see, it will have a better attack bonus for the ranged style, as well as strength and a +1 prayer bonus. The only thing you will notice is that the Barrow's Gloves are going to have better defensive stats, and that's because they are more versatile and they are the more diverse option whenever you want to do something that involves other attack styles. Now, this is very nice, number one, because the Barrow's Gloves have been best in slot for the ranged style for as long as the game has existed, and because I actually predicted this one in my next video that I published a few weeks ago. So this one I'm actually very happy about. We are going to see some direct upgrades to an item that has been in the game for quite a long time. This next one is super interesting because we are going to compare the new Zaryte Bow to both the Twisted Bow and the Bow of Ferdinand, again, I don't know how to pronounce these. As most of you know, the Twisted Bow is useful against the targets with high magic level. Think of the Inferno, the Champions of Zaryte, Brutal Black Dragons, and then the Bow of Ferdinand is going to be useful against the targets with high defense, and that's why it has such a great attack bonus in the ranged style. Now, The gimmick with the Zaryte Bow is that it's going to be a multi-target weapon, because whenever it's charged, it is going to affect or attack 2 targets whenever they are in close range. However, whenever you are wearing the Zaryte Vambraces, it is going to be capped up to 3, and that way you are going to be able to basically use a Chinchampa in multi-target areas, like the Catacombs of Coranda or whatever. So think of bursting, but for the ranged attack style, and I don't really think you're going to be wasting that much compared to, let's say, if you are bursting or barraging things in multi-target areas. So that one is also going to be a very nice and interesting niche piece of gear that will be useful, I would say, in most Slayer situations whenever you can. Last but not least, we have to talk about the Ancient Godsword, which I don't really know why it isn't called the Zaros Godsword. There has to be something lore related that I'm forgetting, but anyway, this one is also super interesting because, as you can see, it is going to be the exact same stats-wise to the current Godswords, and that is the thing with the current ones. You don't go to a specific Godsword just for damage, as they are all the same. However, you go to each one for their special attack. For those of you who are not familiar, if you are brand new to the game or haven't played for a long time, the Armadillo Godsword is going to give you bonus damage, the Saradomin Godsword is going to both heal your HP and your prayer, the Bandos Godsword decreases defense, and the Zamorak Godsword will freeze your target for a short amount of time. And the case for the Ancient Godsword is going to be that if you cast the special attack on your target, if it doesn't move for what I believe is like 4, 5, or 6 seconds, it is going to deal 20 damage, and those 20 damage is going to be healed back to you. Now, to talk about this one briefly, I don't really see this one being extremely useful in PvEming situations, because if you want to heal with melee, then I personally think the Saradomin Godsword is going to be your best bet. It looks like this one is going to be mostly used in PvP if you freeze your target, you cast the Ancient Godsword, and then you have those 20 extra bonus damage that your opponent is not going to be able to dodge, and you can get some nice loot from your risk fight. So, you guys can let me know about this one. I am not extremely knowledgeable in PvP situations, but you can let me know what you think of this one. Starting off the Raids 3 items, we have the Masori Armor set. Now, this is going to be almost the same case as whenever we compare the Ancestral versus the Virtus robes, and as you can see, the Masori Armor is going to have the same attack bonus and prayer as the current best in slot, which is Armadillo, only with slightly worse defensive stats. However, the gimmick for this one is that whenever you have low life, which is below 40% points, as you can see in this next image, this changes entirely, and the Masori Armor set is going to have plus 99 ranged attack bonus compared to the Armadillo 63, and it is going to have plus 1 prayer. So this is another armor set that we are going to see added into the game that is not going to be a direct upgrade, but it is going to be better than the current best in slot under specific situations, and that is what the next item is going to help us with. The item I'm talking about is the Masori Amulet, and as you can see, it is much worse than the current best in slot for your neck item when it comes to ranged, which is the Necklace of Anguish. However, this one is going to be specifically useful whenever you use it with the Masori Armor set, because it is going to keep you below 40% HP, so you can always have that nice little attack bonus, and so that armor, and whenever you are wear it, and if you don't take a lot of damage if you pray correctly, well, it is going to have that plus 99 ranged bonus for the Masori Armor, and these, all 4 of these items are meant to work together, which is incredibly useful and innovative. The other item I talked about, which is going to be a direct upgrade to the current best in slot counterpart, we have the Word of Elidinis. Now, if you do Raids 3 and if you are lucky enough to receive a broken Word of Elidinis, you can attach an Arcane Sigil to it and receive the new best in slot Mage Offhand item. Now, as you can see from these images, the Word of Elidinis will have 5 more magic attack bonus, and oddly enough, they will have the same defensive stats. But most importantly, the Word of Elidinis will have a plus 5% magic damage, making it incredibly powerful. So I'm also super happy about this one because it's going to be a new item that's strictly better than the previous best in slot with pretty much no strings attached. And speaking of magic, here we have the new magic wand, which is going to be called, I believe, the Heka of Tumeken or something like that. And this is another little gimmicky item that, as you can see, is going to be strictly worse than the current best in slot item, which is the Kodai wand. However, the thing with this one is that it will have 3 attacks in quick succession, and then the 4th attack is going to be more powerful. And this is yet another example of ways that Jagex is thinking to introduce more items that are not strictly better than the current best in slot ones, just to not piss off the player base and say, oh, here we have a new item with this nice niche, and, well, you can see where it's useful. Not really happy with this one, but I guess we'll have to wait and see how people use it. And finally, we have 2 melee weapons, and we will start with the Osmumten Fang. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, if not, well, I'm so sorry. As you can see, it will have better stats than the Zaryte Rapier since both are stab weapons. But one thing to note is that the Fang will be a 5-tick weapon as opposed to the Zaryte Rapier, which has a 4-tick cycle. I guess we'll just have to wait and see where this one is more useful in either PvMing or PvP situations. And finally, from all of the new items, we have the Keris Partisan, which as you can see from the stats, it's not going to be a very overwhelming weapon, but the gimmick with this one is that it will have a special little thing against Calphite enemies, which I guess it's going to be very useful to farm the Calphite Queen or to do your Slayer tasks. So I believe this one is going to have slightly worse stats than all of the nice new best in slot items, but this one is going to have a very niche use, which could potentially be even more powerful at certain situations, so I'm really excited for this one too. And now we come to the end of the video where I will talk about the thing I mentioned at the beginning of the video, where even though I think all of these items look very nice, cool, powerful, I think we are hitting a very awkward situation in terms of power creep in old school RuneScape with future releases. Now, here's the thing, a couple of months ago I made a video talking about power creep in old school RuneScape and a potential solution to it. In that video, one of the things I said is that I think Jagex is straight up afraid of adding something new and more powerful than current best in slot items because of player backlash. It will be like, oh, this is going to devalue Bandos, this is going to devalue Armadillo, Ancestral, and whatever. But think of it this way. If we don't have direct upgrades, we are going to keep getting items that are either the same as the current best in slot or worse, but they are going to have special effects or set bonuses or whatever, as it is the case with the Virtus, Masori, the Zaryte Bow, the Ancient Godsword, everything. So if we keep having this mentality of, oh, please don't devalue my items, Jagex is going to keep the power creep, the cap or whatever, at levels 75, 80, 82, and we are not really going to get anything like super interesting in the future because they are going to be like, oh, players are going to be angry about this one. Let's just add a nice new powerful niche mechanic to this item instead of making it strictly better than the previous ones. As you can see, the Virtus Robes is going to have the same attack bonus as Ancestral, but it will have that nice little effect with the Ancient spells, and it will have plus a magic damage bonus if you're wearing the pieces or if all of the pieces together. So personally, I think this is going to be both interesting but also weird for the game, because think about it this way. If we run out of ideas to add to new item sets, like, what's next, right? If they don't add, let's say, Armadillo 2, right? And if it's not something that's strictly better than the charged or the low life Masori Armor, then what other effect are you going to add that is going to make you choose it over the current best in slot, right? So instead of having more options when it comes to weapons and armor because of the levels, then you are going to have armor sets and weapons that are going to have all of these different niche effects, and we are going to find ourselves juggling so many items for, like, let's say, oh, I'm going to my Calphite Queen trip, let me take my Inquisitor and my Keris Partisan. Oh, I'm going to Hydra, let me take Masori. Oh, I'm going to Fosani, let me take the Inquisitor. So, like, if we don't have direct upgrades for many items in the game, how many effects are we going to have to add to weapons and armor sets in order for them to make them, if not better, then slightly competitive with the current best in slot? That is exactly what I mentioned at the beginning of the video, that if we don't run out of levels, let's say, I mean, I don't want them to add level 95 weapons, but then if you have the level cap at levels 75, 80, 82, 85, what's next, right? I don't think we're going to see them anytime soon, like in 2, 3, 5 years, but what if the game is 10 years older? like what's going to be the best in slot items by then, which I mean, I don't know if I'll be playing, I don't know if I'll be making videos, but it will be super interesting to know what kind of mechanics they add to future items and armor sets for us to experience with both the bosses, PvPing, and much more. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's nice analytical video, and it was a lot of fun making it, as well as giving you my opinion, as I haven't really made a rambly video like this in quite a while. So thank you guys for watching, and also thank you to the absolute legends that are supporting this channel monetarily, specifically Mr. Moldybot and Demon Cloak for joining the Nazi tier and the Dragon tier respectively. If you would like to monetarily support this channel, you can go ahead and click the join button below and see what kind of cool perks and rewards I have for your monetarily subscription, sorry. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic and amazing week. And if you made it this far, make sure to let me know what your favorite new item is from all of these new releases that we will get in the future, and leave a comment saying hype. Just say hype, your comment, and you will be entered into a 1 bond giveaway, which I will select in the next week. And another little nice thing is that this week, as of the release of this video, this is the week which I am going to get married, and yeah, we'll be seeing each other on Discord, so hopefully you guys enjoyed, have a nice week, and I will see you then. Well, next Monday, however. Peace.